Hello, the interwebs. This is Gamer 1745 here, and I think everything is working right, but I am checking that. I see other YouTubers, streamers, whatever you want to call us, doing that now. So I am checking all that. Alright, I think that's working good. Now, we're going to continue our look here in just a moment with La Résistance DLC, which is changed. Hearts of Iron. And I'm thinking of, see, a rant would be a wrong term for it, but I'm thinking of a monologuing here about things. Thins. Okay. Alright, well, not many people here, but we're going to make a recording. Haven't even started releasing this series yet. Okay. Welcome. Wow, that's different. Okay. Well, let's click over to this. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing look at Hearts of Iron 4 La Résistance DLC. I hope you're all having a very good day. Well, I'm sitting here thinking, gathering my thoughts. I know you shouldn't be doing this at the beginning of a video that's supposed to be the hook to get everyone to want to stay. Okay, I'm gonna give a bit of a monologue. No, this is not a rant, but a bit of a monologue here on games in general, Hearts of Iron 4 specifically, and my views of this. And this is not to say that your views are wrong and how you want to do it, but when Hearts of Iron 4 was released, the game was, well, I'm going to say it again, a shit show. It was just god awful. So I want to say that, but I'm not here to dump on Hearts of Iron 4 or the team that made it. I do believe, I don't know, but I do believe higher ups sort of felt they needed to kick it out the door in whatever state that it was. And it should not have happened that way. And they've, in one fashion or another, have sort of admitted that. I don't know if maybe they actually said that or something, but conditionally they've sort of agreed with that. Now, I've always sort of loved aspects of Hearts of Iron 4. One of them being this. You produce equipment, not units. Yes, you train units because that's real, but you produce, oh, clicking on the wrong thing, equipment. So you send a Panzer division out here, they go in a really bad battle. Hey, Ari. And you need to replace them. And, lost tanks. And we can replace Panzer IIIs. That's basically what that is. Or maybe later on you have them with Panzer IVs. And, you're replacing upgraded equipment or whatever. So I've always loved that. Now, this is getting to the new features of La Résistance. Just finish. We just got finished with my heist. What a mess. With my... What I missed. No, we just got started. Sorry. Trying to read. So, and then I've just and obviously, I would say overall followed developments of Hearts of Iron 4 very closely, including through the beta testing process, continuing beta testing process. And a bunch of people are complaining that, because people are always going to complain, and I know that. This is the internet. You don't have to say, of course, boomer. Yeah, I know. People are always going to complain. But I still want to defend. Is that intelligence here, and I don't know always what they're looking at, is OP, overpowered. Hello, Lum. And they're probably right. But, God damn, I don't know of another grand strategy game. Now, I don't know how much there are in intelligence games out there, spy games. There may be a lot that I'm just not aware of, or I'm not really aware of any. But I don't know of any game that has this level of sophistication when it comes to intel. And so, one, this is, shall we say, early day. No, trash this. I didn't mean to do that. We're going to look at this in a moment. This is still early days, and so rebalancing and whatnot, and people should be putting in their feedback on what they think with Intel. But just the functionality of this, not that this is right or perfect or whatnot in this current stage, it's just this is what is here now and can be developed, is really good, really cool, and I fully support this direction with the game. We can look at here stuff. I mean, just like air units. Now, I have problems with the air. Yes, that this is the bombing range of this. The bombers here in the Berlin area. Yeah, okay. That for attacking, that works mostly well, except for the teleportation, meaning you can't intercept them on the way. That's a problem. So you can't just do a massive air defense over the Low Countries and either force them to fly around, or, you know, you've got to do it there. And sort of gets to the other problem with the air is air defensiveness, in that you can only defend one area at a time with air. So yeah, there are problems with this, and I'm not going to say that there isn't continuing problems. Very, very bad at start, but it's getting much better. And I always look at this as, once you put in these mechanics, and no, I have not looked at all in the modding of Intel, but this, to my understanding, is rather moddable. So let's have 20 good, I'm sure there can be a lot of other junky things out there that people just do, but 20 good Intel mods that people can go in and do stuff to it. Now, what you need to do is the problems that I continue to have is like this: oppose Hitler. There was opposition to Hitler. But the idea of being able to just click some buttons and do unhistorical things. So different nations should have various built-in defenses to intelligence-based, shall we say, intel-based disruption to their activities. We can look at a nation like Czechoslovakia. It had a massive German population that, from the very day that Czechoslovakia was established, created by foreign treaties, hated the idea of being part of Czechoslovakia, because they had been Austrians, German-speaking Austrians, in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It did not sit well with them. And so you had this group of people that was at its core disloyal. Then you have, which we can see today, the idea that there's Czechs and Slovaks. And other than that they both may want independent status, and may have wanted so for generations, they have nothing else, to my knowledge, in common other than their geographical proximity. So the idea that you're creating Czechoslovakia means that you have a very, very, and I'll get to the, hello everyone, I'll get to your chats in a moment. You have, you know, a very vulnerable target for spies, I want to say, but just outside influences, because it can be just simply, you know, radio broadcasts in or something, you know, that are in the German language or in the Slovak language that are anti-Czech. And so you may have a very strong sense of Czech national identity that they sort of say Czechoslovakia. And that not saying is, because we can go in and examine, and I have to some degree, but for sake of argument now, may be a very strong national identity that isn't vulnerable to foreign agents and influence and spies and bribery and ideological influence. That may be the situation for them, but that's not with everybody else. Then you can jump over to a nation like Poland. Okay, Poland, yeah, it has its problems too. It has, pseudo has, the Free State of Danzig up here, that is a de facto German city-state. Basically, most of it, I guess sort of the Postal Service and a few of the government agencies were dominated by Poles, but you can see photos that, and they're not like hanged up, oh, they are sometimes hanged up off of street lights and things like that, but also just hanged out of people's windows. So many German flags, which are the swastika flags at this time, for events and times to show, and this is while Danzig was still a free city, you know, in like 1938 or early 39. So Germany could have had this at a moment's notice because the population was overwhelmingly German and overwhelmingly wanting to be part of Germany. But this, the Danzig corridor, if you were to give its right sort of name here, which may be slightly smaller than this, is what Germany wants, but also has a significant, or had maybe even a German majority. Definitely by this time has a significant German minority in there. There's Hitler's Empire, really good book that looks at some of this area that had been in the German Empire at the start of World War I. So maybe parts of traditional Poland, which was not traditional Poland, was not East Prussia, but was a lot of this territory that had long been the German Empire, or reasonably long, or the Prussian kingdom, or the whatnot, but that the de-Germanification policies of Poland, both driving out the German residents and trying to repopulate cities with Polish citizens. This is, from approximately 1920 through to 1939 and the start of the war, there had been this policy of Polishification. So do not think that, whether you want to, national identity, because some of these groups, I really don't know that there are a genetic racial, because now the Nazis, of course, are always talking about race. And if you go back to the 19th century, race was just the generic term for a group of people that would be used, which we would maybe not we would not necessarily use today appropriately, because it's not necessarily a genetic I establishment identity kind of thing, because like you can look at like Churchill's, which is he's still very much even into the 20th century using 19th century terms, looking at the Anglo-Saxon race in Britain. What those are Anglo-Saxons, Utes, Frisians, Celts, and other peoples that and even that, the Celts, are they Britons or are they Gauls? Are they it's all so it's all what we're learning today about the genetics, and that's why I like to use that word. It is still somewhat loaded, but I don't mean it in a pejorative sense in any direction. But the genetic makeups of people, and I know that was super important to the Nazis, but the idea of national identity and viewpoint was not just a German imperialistic enterprise, shall we say, but was something that was being done in places even like France over the border changes. So Germany does have legitimate grievances. Whether I'm not saying they're right, but they're legitimate in their concerns. Best maps you can do to look at to see some of this stuff are railway maps, and look at the development levels between. Hello, Brett, and spiraling. How you doing? Railway maps here in Poland to see the former Russian areas of Poland and see the former German areas and how the railways were built up differently, how they interconnected and all of that stuff. It's fascinating to look at as a physical reminder of the past. So outside of its German minority, maybe somebody like a country like Poland is going to be much harder for, and the German minority is not at all in the levers of power or influence within Poland. So you're not going to be able to get spies into the army or whatnot as readily to get information out of Poland as you are Czechoslovakia. So there are modifications that can be built into it in the sense of, here we're still talking about this, in the sense of some of these types of things that can be, I presume, looked at and given special special ones of these to special nations, or certain nations that resist certain things naturally. So looking at this, I think this is a great addition, but I'm not saying it's without its problems, and we will be continuing to look at that. Now I want to check out, it's what everybody's been saying while I've been sort of monologuing. It's not been a rant, but monologue in the chat. Okay, so somebody's telling Lum's dumb, or Lum is saying everyone else has done more bombers. Oh wow, there's been lots of you guys been going on, I know. Okay, 4,000 cast toy jet. Well, I don't know how much all this I'm gonna read. Hello, okay. The new update had my Chinese spies in Tokyo, but for some reason the Japanese have stopped going around like this. We're doing a democratic coup. Yeah. Things like that. Like Japan would be one of those states that I would put huge natural defenses from external spies. I had 3 years of Japanese language class. I've studied Japan very closely. I'm not an expert in Japan. That's a whole status above me. But I am very knowledgeable about Japan, and I would say, in a practical sense, the only possible nation that was even remotely capable of doing spies against Japan would be the United States, because of the fairly large Japanese population here. But even that is almost a no-go situation, and because it's not just, again, genetic components that ethnicity. Hey, thanks for following. Oh, no, it's hosting now. Thanks, Arno. It's not just the, you know, genetic components, but they're huge amounts of social ties between people. So somebody applying for a government branch to work in a government office somewhere, they know who your people are. You're not just getting random people coming in. You just, everybody knows who everybody else is. Not like somebody in the north of Japan knows who somebody in the south of Japan, but you go get their residency, well, who are you? Well, I'm, John Smith from this area. And it could be a specific neighborhood in Tokyo. And trust me, people would know, is this, do you know this guy? Oh, yes. Or no, we don't. Or what? And then, so just the idea of getting in random spies, and not all Asians look alike. Oh, God, no. And I don't mean just as in difference between individuals, but different ethnic groups. And the idea that the Chinese could infiltrate is just ridiculous. Now Manchukuo, that had to be a different story entirely. There should be some stuff like that. I'm going to try to skim through this because you're going to keep talking at me and I will never catch up. They drowned in planes, yes. Got a lot of intel from them. Yeah, I would not allow Japan to leak too much. It would make things interesting for you. That is a really hard thing to do, spiraling. 36 is the best year, and I don't want to necessarily go into it now. Gone into it before. You could push to 35, but a 33 start date is just not a good thing unless you are really trying to do an internal political level operation like this, spying just internally in Germany and other nations. No, it's just a 33 is not a good place to go. I think. By Horribly Nation, okay. Oh yeah, come on. Planes and how you drowned them in the line. Context, yes. Yep, another can of Coke. And 2 propaganda well are all in the country, if that helps. Okay. Well, it was definitely in the days before they ever coined the term weeb, so I predate that. I did and do have a fascination with the samurai and some of their sort of viewpoints and ideology, shall we say. Never been a great, manga definitely, and existed particularly back then, but never been a huge. Okay, and yes. Is disenfranchised with the government, but and in Japan you have massive amounts of people disenfranchised with the government, but that's not how you get into the Japanese government as a spy. And I'm talking particularly about Japan and not other nations at this moment, because you see, if you go back and you can, especially if you're looking in like 1930 or 1933, and even 1936, you have, and I don't remember dates well, sorry people, but you have a truly democratic sort of normative government system in Japan, that the army who's dissatisfied with the government assassinates, or elements within the army assassinates, the prime minister of Japan. So you have a lot of this going on in Japan, conflict between, almost to a point, at some points a little later than this period. Well, later than 36, but before 39, right about there. And there, you almost have the idea of maybe a civil war between the Japanese army and the Japanese navy. Not that it's going to like consume the nation, but the idea that there might be, sending Navy crewmen, ashore to, well, I mean, many of them are based on shore, but trying to do a political coup against the army and using airstrikes against army bases, just as sort of a brief thing. But there is almost zero dissatisfaction or disenfranchisement from Japanese society. That's sort of the key with Japan to this day. And so you may have the army militarist, the navy militarist, which have different goals and objectives. And then you have the navy, people that want strong navy, but they don't want a war. Most of the navy, I would say the majority of the navy is an anti-war party, but a super strong defense party. So they're militarist in the sense they want a strong, and they see, and it's naval and air primarily. They see that as the defense of Japan because, hey, it's an island. You have enough ships. You have enough aircraft. Yeah, you need an army, but you don't need to primarily look at an army. That's not the way to defend Japan. And they want super strong defenses for Japan, but they are not aggressive with their policies as into leading them to war. That is the dominant naval view, militarist view. There is elements that are aggressive. Where in the army, you see this going on, wanting to go to war on the mainland. And so you have heavily divergent views. Now, both these army militarists and these naval militarists may be wanting a very not saying do, but especially the army more do, wanting more of an authoritarian government. But, so they're not divided on, if you will, left-right issues, democracy versus, I don't know, is this monarchy? Because the emperor is, the emperor, but he's not running the government. No one really thinks he should, including the emperor. He's just sort of overseeing the government. And sort of that's always sort of been the tradition of Japan, even in like the Meiji Restoration, which really sort of puts the emperor back in charge instead of the shogunate. But it's not so much the emperor is running the show. He's even as sort of at the height as, and I'm not, I'm more of a student of some of the shogunate periods, but even when he's sort of coming back in and really getting back into power, because they've been sidelined for generations, he's again not like running the government. He's sort of giving direction, modernization kind of thing, if you will, giving this overall direction, and then picking the idea of, oh, you're going to be prime minister, and you've got to do a good job. You can't, it's not like a democratic situation in which, oh, well, you lose an election and you're out or something. No, it's more like, hey, if you're not doing a good enough job and there's disquiet socially, meaning disruption in society, too much, and obviously there's going to be some because you're going from a feudalistic, agrarian, non-industrialized society into industrialized society. But if you're seen to not doing good, yeah, we're going to replace you. You're not a dictator prime minister, but so you have a constituency situation, and you can't do extraordinary measures to stay in power like a dictator might. And so you can, do a bad job and lose your position, but it's not, at least during some of the phases of it, not the idea that you're going to lose a political election and lose your job. It's more, things aren't working well, the emperor will replace you. And so, and that sort of is that a monarchy? Or, yeah, but, I don't know. But they're not, but when I'm talking about the army and the navy factions that are and then there's still the civil government, the civil service faction within government. So there's three basic factions: the Army faction, the Navy faction, and there's factions within the factions, of course. And then there's sort of the civil service faction, and then there's the political, people being elected to office and that type of thing in Japan. But between the Army and the Navy, they both believe that there should be an emperor and all, and maybe more of an authoritarian government. But that doesn't mean they're monarchists like we would sort of say in Europe. They might want a sort of a dictatorial prime minister, shall we say. That yes, if things go too haywire, like, I don't know, losing a war or unable to successfully fight a war in China, might cause the government to collapse without even an election happening, just a no confidence overall with the Japanese people. But so, yeah, it's complicated would be the thing. So yeah, you can find a lot of disenfranchised people with the government, but that's different than disenfranchised from society. And that is where you jump over and see the Czechoslovakian example is that at its fundamental heart, the Sudeten Deutsch, were disenfranchised from the society. However, what they ever thought of, and I don't know what they thought of how well the government in Prague is overall governing Czechoslovakia. I don't hear, and I don't read Slovak, I don't read German, I don't read Czech, and so I'm looking at other people writing about it. But I don't hear complaints of mismanagement in Prague or corruption in Prague or whatever is causing us to be dissatisfied with how well the government's working, like, roads not being repaired or whatever. I don't ever hear that. It's always the complaints about the sort of central Czech, because is it Czechoslovakian, is it Czechoslovakian, because at this period it's hyphenated. They actually go from a one word to a hyphenated Czechoslovakia, as in sort of a two-word nation. It's sort of to appease these, so it's not this anymore, actually, at this stage. That it's, to my knowledge, it's never about government, it's about society. And that is where the disenfranchisement now is being seen. So I know I've stopped on this and going on another lecture mode. You're running your farm. Is he trying to catch up with all you guys? No, and I don't need to read all your joking banter back and forth. It's cool. Oh yes, it's a bit of a craziness out there. Okay, just trying to get. I'm not sure gave an order to evacuate Manila, but the IJN officers just and that, whether it's at the collapse of the Japanese Empire with the Americans. Yeah, hi AZ. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, and I don't, when somebody like AZ says Asian, I'm not exactly sure, is he including India in that? I definitely see some of my, compared to AZ, I'm sure it's very limited, but some of my readings of little more direct rule in some of these places. Some of these countries by the monarchies as opposed to sort of prime ministers or ministerial rule, but yeah, definitely different. Okay, more or less caught up with this. So yeah, and again, we're still more or less examining Hearts of Iron 4, and even though I've gone off into lecture mode and several different topics, hello everyone. If I haven't said hi to you personally, why don't you lecture and talk. If I haven't said hi when you've started chatting, sorry. So you have you have to look at the societies, and you have to look at, for this intel to work, whether we have been focusing, we're going to look now a little bit at encryption and decryption and that type of thing within this. You have natural defenses to some of this stuff. China, trust me, Japanese can keep a secret, but yeah, somebody can break into an office and steal a code book. In Korea, you have a dissatisfied group of people with their overlordship, but how well do the Koreans, and can you penetrate it? Because they're not going to trust Chinese, because Chinese, they're just thinking that Korea should be part of China. It's the enemy of our enemy is not necessarily our friend. And so, and the Japanese were very well aware of, Koreans are dissatisfied. So the idea of a code book or something similar to that, yeah, you can definitely have, that there was definitely military units that had large numbers of Koreans in them, but they're not going to be trusted with much of that type of stuff. And so, yeah, cleaning staff or something could probably break into a drawer, but it's not going to be an easy thing, and even then they're still not going to have much access to a lot of that kind of information. So, now once they start setting up their puppet states, because Korea is much more of a direct rule situation, of Manchukuo and Manchukuo, yeah, those are penetratable, but what do they know? I think the Japanese, again, from my limited knowledge, the whole, all the Japanese cipher and message would go to a Japanese clerk, and he would decipher this stuff and then hand it off to the appropriate people in Manchukuo. I'm thinking something similar to Manchukuo sets up a commercial airline whose primary task is to sort of support military operations. So it's sort of a disguised Air Force. And now it has, it has no offensive aircraft. It's more of a logistics. They're not doing paratroopers or anything like that. They're doing, Korea is just sandwiched, but yeah, between Beijing and Kyoto, Edo, absolutely. The earliest archaeological evidence for the consumption of soup dates back to this was hippopotamus soup. No. Hello, Huntman. No, the Bulgaria stayed out of, and if I'm not mistaken, Bulgaria never declares war against the Soviet Union in World War II. They declare war against the Western Allies and Greece particularly. But no, they do not go. They do not send any troops to fight in the Soviets at all. They are not part of that. And it doesn't keep the Soviets from invading Bulgaria once they can. So, so that if there's some information, so it's like, air logistics, and it's on a small scale. They eventually do get fighter aircraft, older model Japanese stuff. They're not given whatever, sensitive, any messages that wouldn't be sent, shall we say, in the clear. They're not getting, Japanese clerks with Japanese books would decipher the message and then hand it off to a Manchurian pilot or officer or whatever. Why, I don't know why Lum is on to about soup, but okay. Now that they have the mechanics into the game of this, they need to start looking country by country, case by case, where countries have divisions on ideology, like what we're thinking of modern ideologies, fascism, socialism, communism, democracies, authoritarianism, monarchism, whatever, and where a monarchist party in France will maybe help out a monarchist party in Italy just because they'll, sort of factions with each other. Kinds of things. Arno said soup and agree with me. So here's some soup facts. Okay, the most popular soup variety in the U.S. is chicken noodle. Yes, that would be true. Good one, Brett. I love that. Especially the no one wants to see part. Okay, so new icon here, at least with this. And so we now have cryptology, and it's now a thing. We can look here at cryptology department, radio intercept groups, cipher intercept groups. And one thing I don't know yet, we are seeing, okay, and yes, I have played this, but not looked into this that much. Once the decryption process is initiated, it will take a while to fully decrypt the cipher, given our current decryption speed and other active decrypts. Once the enemy will give the following benefits. Okay, so I guess this has, because the radio stations used to have the idea that they are also radar, but I'm wondering, does it affect decryption? Are we, because it also had been sort of radio listening posts as well, as just sort of a catch-all. Because I'm gathering from looking at this, we'll come back to this, that the United States is as easily to decrypt as France. I don't know that I like that. But, well, our first big opponent will be France. So we're going to start reveal intel 30 days, 440 days. Okay, now, I do know that we can increase our decryption capacity, but we're going to stop that. Because I don't know, in 440 days, we're still going to have a France. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to go with Britain instead. Oh, well now, okay, well, whoa, okay. I think they have, once the decryption. Okay, so because I'm presuming that they have done more encryption capabilities, and I'm gathering okay, so Britain looks to be also not. Let's trash this. Let's see what the Soviet Union. Okay, the Soviet Union, we have where's everyone? Okay, you're going back. Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised. Latin. Good one, AZ. Yeah, Aries a bit of a farmer. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, he did tell me why Pope Innocent III, but it didn't seem like a good enough reason. After heisting in a payday. Okay. So we're going to go with Soviet intel. And we also, no, we can only do one at a time right now. Okay. Now, mentioning all this, let's radio intercept group. Government cipher. That was completed. So we're going to do cryptology level. Yeah, let's do another one of those, which will help that out. Now, we're not going to get in, I know this has gone a long time, Hungary into the faction until we do the first Vienna Award. Oh, well, no, I actually go down when we do that. Gains first Vienna. Oh, no, we're trying to... Oh, no, they're towards us, it's +5. So I know we can already get them in, but I'm going to wait for that. So let's continue our game of intel and spying and whatnot. Okay, no paid licenses. Oh, them. Okay. Okay, back to this viewpoint. First Vienna Awards, very good. Okay, well, oh, that's lost us Hungary's chance to join already? We just gave them a lot of territory there? What? Ah. Why? Why did that happen that way? Okay, don't know that. So we should have grabbed that up while we could. That was a mistake. Learn from my mistakes. Now, we're already in June, so we want to pick up the rest of Czechoslovakia. Do we have any more of this that we want to... I don't know that we do. Okay. Yes, I know, and we need to build up. Let's grab another synthetic refinery. Okay, agent captured. Uh-oh. While being deployed behind enemy lines, Alicia Banzna was apprehended by enemy British counterintelligence. Reports from other sources indicate that he is held in a remote location for interrogation. While we believe he will try to resist interrogation as long as possible, it's likely that, yeah, yes, we must rescue a Sunday. Oh, that was a nice dissolve. That was actually done very well there. Okay, so we've lost him here, captured by the United Kingdom. Okay, well, he's still doing his tech stealing situation. We can now have another recruiting operatives, 19 more days. So we don't have somebody. We do have him. In preparation. Okay, we can't. Well, it's set up to auto repeat. Okay, well, we'll see about 19 days. Now, Ari might be interested that the new DLC coming out for EU4 will make the Pope a more important figure. Okay, anti-tank upgrades, very nice. Let's get artillery. days. Government site for school, very good. Prepared. Okay, we're not going to automatically repeat this, but since we have it, oh, we don't have him here, so we can't commence. Huh. What should we do, chat? Should we try to rescue our agent? Yeah, maybe we need to rescue the agent with the new agent. I was thinking of trying to get Scorzini to do the rescuing. Thought we were deciphering. Click on it. Soviets. Yes. Maybe I didn't click to start it. That was probably the problem. Okay. Yeah, need to actually click to start it. Okay, 100% boost. Yes, we want to do that. Rescue him. Yes. Oh, we can now get a new agent. Okay. He's a seducer. He's a tough guy. Well, let's grab him. And then let's put, operations, capture, prepare this guy. He's going to go in and prepare to rescue him. Advanced machine tools, very nice. Increase our production. And what do we need logistically? Well, we could use some more armored cars, that's for sure. So let's. Now it's mostly because we are bad. Rogue perk, amazing thing called horribly bad luck with you. Odd combo. Now we have a fair amount of the. Okay, we need to. Oh, they're starting to catch up on us, so we need to continue to pursue that. Now, create an African section, create a Middle East section. Okay, let's create a Middle East section. How goes in preparation? That's prepared, but we can't launch because he's still locked up. Now, what do you all think? Oh, what does spiraling say? Okay. Okay, well, there was those episodes were made during a live stream on Slytherin's channel, and during those 3 days that they were sort of doing some marathon live streaming, there was a publisher's sale for Slytherin and Matrix games. That is now over. It depended on the game how much was off. They will be doing more sales in the future because I know they've done it in the past, so they will be doing so. So that's over with, the publisher sale, but was a thing. So I know you posted, but there was no. I did post links in the chat at the time on their site, but it's now over with. So actually, more people will watch it on my channel later than watched it live. So that's why I put it out also on my stuff, but do that. There, okay. Romania was entirely important for you. Oh, what is, how big was Romanian Hungarian contribution? Actually pretty big, and pretty bad. There was at least an army, meaning the idea of, multiple corps make up an army. They were ready to create an army group to put Antonescu in charge of an army group down in the Caucasus area, but that fell through with the counteroffensive around Stalingrad, and von Manstein was sort of put in charge of the reaction instead. Antonescu was the only, supposedly, according to von Manstein, the only worthwhile Romanian leader of any, military leader of any capabilities. And particularly the Romanian and the Italian contributions, failures to hold the flanks of Stalingrad is why you have the Stalingrad disaster. So fairly damn large. Slovakia provided a corps, basically, fighting on the Eastern Front. 2 to 4 divisions, and it varies at times. Because they had sort of a rapid division or rapid brigade, which is not quite an armored division, but was semi-motorized, I would say, because they may still have some bicycle troops and whatnot. But a lot of motorization in one division with some tanks. Not more like a company or two of tanks, not 2 or 4 battalions of tanks, and generally older models of tanks, because they did get upgraded over time. They're sort of the smaller contribution. Hungary, yeah, probably also an army, as in a couple of corps fighting on the Eastern Front. Romania, yeah, 3-4 corps or more at any one time until the sort of collapse and then sort of the rebuild of it. They're sort of the most significant in size, but the quality of all 3 of those nations on the Eastern Front of units was not good. And that quality of troop training, quality of leadership, quality of equipment, the amount of equipment was all pretty damn bad for those nations. So just not even up to Soviet standards, let alone German standards on all of them. So numbers, yes. Quality, no. And as Azad's point, Romania's most important element was oil that was vitally needed. They could have easily had a corps coming out of Yugoslavia of Russians, both veterans of the Russian Civil War and their descendants, but Germany keeps them out for some reason, and I can understand some of the reasons, but I don't know specifically what the reasons are entirely. Something of a mystery. They keep out all the Russian emigres in Yugoslavia, and including whatever that would have volunteered from France to go fight the Bolsheviks. They keep them out of the Soviet Union, and I don't know whether they're. I don't know the reason, and I've never been given a clear one. Hey, IKB. Yeah, wait for the next sale. Spiraling. There will be good sales. Pick them up when they come out, and just hang out. Be aware on the sites, and you'll find out. They'll come on sale. Trust me, I know they will be happening. I have no idea when, so but I just know it will come about. I don't know. They were not like rabidly czarist. I mean, they're definitely rabid czarist in the XL Russian community in Yugoslavia, but they weren't entirely that. But I mean, they were all rabid anti-Bolsheviks, and so I don't know if they were worried that they would conflict with, if their czarist principles would conflict with just other anti-Bolsheviks. If they were worried conflict, I don't know. But they keep out the anti-Bolsheviks from Yugoslavia from serving on the Eastern Front. That is a plug. Hey James, hey Marcus, how you guys doing? Okay, we've got Blitzkrieg. That's a good one to get. And well, let's look, see if there's something else more timely. Panzer IVs, maybe, but not just yet. Oh, did we get? Yeah, we got that. 39, that's there. Yeah. Let's do this. I like getting all these. And more production. Well, let's do another because I want it. Just because I want it. Another one of those. Well. Okay, we have enough in a minimum sense of everything. I mean, it's not enough like airplanes or whatnot, but enough to meet sort of immediate needs. Naval bombers, tactical bombers. Let's go with more because I like them. Naval bombers. And we need more tungsten. Okay. Sweden. Okay, we've sort of lost some there. Portugal. Let's just do 8 for the moment. Oh, Marcus Gaming. Okay, you're talking the march to Paris. Yeah, I was going to make at least 2 more episodes. I don't know that I'm going to complete because one, I don't know that I'm going to make it to take Paris. That is, and I don't know if I'm going to keep pushing with the challenge. But I will be making a few more of those episodes. I've sort of kind of learned that if I put out more than 2 videos in a day, they sort of step on each other. We got lots of scout planes. I don't know if that's enough scout planes. So, I haven't even posted any of the episodes. Oh, and let's end this episode. We're going to end this episode here. Not the live stream, everybody here. But those watching later on YouTube, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And of course, I love hearing from you. And if I'm making some mistakes in either what I'm saying or playing with the new mechanics, please let me know. I'm very open to learning. See you next time for more, yes, more Hearts of Iron. So, okay. Have you been flying boats tech tree? Do you have a flying boats tech tree? Oh, we can look at that quickly. Oh, no, they're changing all this on me and I'm not used to clicking. We have scout planes, strategic bombers, naval bombers. 1940 is when we're getting ready to do more that, but no, we don't have, it's not like black ice here, or no. We are vampires now. I don't get to see the sun. Oh, haven't seen the sun for a week. Oh, okay. Yeah. Britain. Rainy. And so I don't know what to do about how many videos I should release. Because for a while I was releasing 4 a day on weekdays, and from various feedbacks and looking at things, it was just too many for the size of audiences, and people were like, hey, I can't watch everything, you're putting too much out. So I don't know, I'm going to turn my heater on here. I'll be getting up and walking over here. It's still a little cold here in California, at least for us Californians. People in Norway would probably think it's summer, but you know. What do you have in jail? Oh, okay, we'll look at that a little bit here again. Oh no, Sparkling Kind of Vampire. I can play Pretender now, of course. Okay. Okay, James, we're looking here. One of our spies have been caught by Britain, and we are mounting a raid now here. We can look here. We prepared a raid to rescue him. I'm going to launch it when I start the next episode. So we're going to try to get him out, because we also want to steal some tech secrets from Britain. So that's the jail thing. Anti-air. Anti-tank. Let's see if we were to... Let's look at... We were going in here and going anti-tank support. Okay, we have enough. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll add anti-tank to our army. Recon cavalry. Maintenance. Well, let's look at our panzer divisions. And they have a light armored car company, engineer company, and artillery. If look at this. No. Damn. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. We were to add a maintenance company here. Okay, we have enough, so let's do that. Let's look at our infantry motorized infantry division. Okay, we will look at that in a moment, IKB. Now here we can do signal company, I guess. We have the radios and support equipment basically needed, and motorization to fill that. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. Brigade. These guys here. And yes, we don't have a lot of experience, but we would like to have at least support artillery. We want to do, yeah, we'll start on this because we'll switch the others over to this template. And recon. Okay, see that I wanted to do sort of that, to sort of, oh, look over here. No spiking. Okay, so we still have a fair amount of things like anti-armor, anti-air, light tanks, medium tanks. Okay, and that's the other thing here that I wanted to see about here. Armored battalions, medium. Okay. So we could do that, go with a medium. And we can do a motorized infantry or 2 of those to get the armored Panzer division up a little better. We have enough motorization here. Yes, good. That would be a much better Panzer division. Okay, so now we have a much better Panzer division. Alright. Well, I think we're going to do more motorization. So another truck factory and another medium tank factory. And we're going to, because we've been doing a lot of synthetic fuels, which we're going to need, I am sure. But let's look here at getting some more factories, and we can also, okay, well, limited conscription. We're going to go to extensive conscription right now, early enough to start building up our army a bit more. Okay, need to deal with you. It seems like I'm not be able to repeat part. Okay. Okay, time to start a new episode. Oh, let's save this just in case. Save. Okay, so I hit the wrong button or do something really, really bad. Save. Okay. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough and look at Hearts of Iron 4 La Resistance. Now, a couple of things we want to do right off the bat. We want to come over here. We want to have you ever heard me complain about state mechanics before? Do you want me to do a rant on that? I could do a rant on that. Okay, an airbase. We want to do an airbase here, and we're going to +1 it, and let's move it up. Yeah, I should just did it to the top. Okay, and so I really do sort of hate the state mechanics. Airbase. Okay, come over here. Let's form a scout plane squadron. We will do 20 planes. I don't know if that's enough. We will do that there. We will come over here and form another scout plane squadron. And once this is deployed, we're going to put them up over here, and with air recon as their goal over here. And these guys back here, once they're deployed, they're going to go air recon over Western Poland to get more intel on what is going on and who's behind the yellow here. We can look over there. Cali Commuter, how you doing? Always say push the wrong button. Yeah. So we're going to do some reconnaissance. Once we get the airbase built here, we'll do some reconnaissance more over France. Now, also, again, as we're looking at here, we have 2 operations that are prepared. One is stalled because we had one of our agents arrested. We have a rescue captured operative operation here, but this guy should have been Scorzini, but he was already on a different one, and I didn't want to do that, so this may fail and may make everything collapse. But we will see how that goes. Now, I could see how, because obviously there was a lot more operations going on. There were ongoing operations, various types in Spain, in France. No, in every country would be a wrong statement, but they were going on in many countries in this region, and all simultaneously. Trying to manage all of them could be a bit of a problem, so don't know. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna, just because we do the historical thing here mostly, use Czechoslovakian gold to reduce the cost of MIFO bills. Right. Partition Czechoslovakia with that. We'll do this. Really, Slovakia doesn't really add much to the game either way. Meaning, if we got this to Germany, it's not much manpower. It's not much stuff even to Slovakia. I mean, to Hungary. Yeah, be a few civilian factories, a couple military. They did get down here, which I guess, oh, well, we're not seeing what's over there now. Put the squeeze on them. Yeah, I guess so. So that now opens up more factories just by one, I guess. I thought we would get more military factories here. Well, we did get a lot of factories. Okay, I don't entirely get 70 days for the anti-Comintern Pact, Danziger War, Second Vienna Awards, demand Slovakia. I think some of their, I don't know, I'd love to hear your feedback, but I think some of their, we'll let this go for a little bit. Fair Czechoslovakia, okay. Is a bit, oh, how do I put this? Time to get through their tree is a bit much. Anti-tank. No, yeah, anti-tank. I want to make sure I can shoot at tanks well enough. Yeah, we can do some anti-air too. We're not, and we need more tungsten IC. Why do we need more tungsten? I don't know. Soviet Union, okay. And hello, Tippet. How you doing? Harry, if he's talking about what we don't really want to go get demonetized for, yeah, Ari, who's isolated in from the rest of the world, yeah, that's a thing. Okay, let's do a little bit of organization here. Let's create a memory group, and I hate their color choices. God, why do you even have this on your color palette? Why do you even have this on your color palette? Well, I like some of what they're doing here. Entry officer, old guard, armored officer. I'm just sort of looking at some of these guys, what they're thinking of them. They're really a lot better than the early days. There we go. So he's watching the border there. Let's add these guys here. You come down there. You're watching there. You come up to here. You Come to here, you come up to there. Okay, we're going to move all of you over to here. And we're going to form another army. So that's what these really sort of are armies. And again, I hate this color palette option. Yeah, we can do that. So we have a mildly decent group there. And Marcus, why do you hate states? Okay, oh boy, Americans with their geography knowledge. Imagination. Okay, I hate the states mechanics on many levels, but the idea that you have a state, well, let's click here. You can only have, this is the current, you can only have one airbase in all of this, and I can't pick where I want it. So if I was the British and go, well, I want an airbase way up here to be able to reach deep into Italy, Italian controlled territory, obviously, not Italy the country, but Italian controlled territory. I can't build it up here. I can't specify it. I don't know where it's going to appear. And if I want to make sure that it's back here a ways, because I'm going to, think this is going to go back and forth at the front, so I wanted it back to the rear, I can't stick it here. And so I can't target an airbase. Now, this was actually fairly decent for targeting the North Sea, which is sort of what it would be. But I can't just like stick an airbase there to sort of try to push up to there. Or with radar, I can't specify, and which if you're talking some of these smaller states as like parts of the Netherlands here, yeah, where the airbase is, where the radar is, it probably doesn't matter. Though where it does matter is if I have one airbase in this state that's level 10 or 10 level 1 air bases and spread all around, well, if it's the one airbase that's level 10 and the enemy capture that particular province, I lose all the air bases. But if it just happens to be they take it by a parachute, say, but I control the rest of the states in the province, I can't have any air bases there. So again, it might not be a big deal in Europe because you just use air bases in some of these other states if you had them. But when we're talking some of these big sort of super provinces, and it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be in other parts of the world, it can mean like, well, hey, yeah, you have the one air base here, you can't, get anywhere. So that is just part of the reason why I hate the state's mechanics. The Netherlands are pretty much just flat, and Norway is just mountains and forests, yes. That is generally true. Yeah, I want it to be much more like, I would just remove the state mechanic in its total. You can also look at crazy states. Crazy states! Let's see, what, now, that is actually a political geographical location because that becomes a GAU once Germany takes it over the state, and it actually does include, I think, that bit too. So that is a political organization, but it is sort of crazy that it's a state. And so, yeah, an airbase thing, it doesn't really matter. But I can't give because we have, this is a state here. Why is this a state here? Because these two provinces, it really was just sort of like one province or whatever, but in the game mechanics, these two provinces here that start out the game as Czechoslovak, but they have a Polish majority, or at least strong minority. I don't exactly know the demographics, but it was heavy Polish, goes over to Poland. So this is its own little state. But the Free City of Danzig, this one province, should be its own state, and this should be a different state, should it? And so, I can't just go, oh, Danzig to Germany, boom. Yeah, I know there are mods that create the free city of Danzig, but that should, so I can't just somehow give a province over to it. This part here is, part of this is Tangier. That was a another free city here at the time that was its own sort of under the League of Nations free city situation, that on the day that Germans marched into Paris, Franco marches in and takes the free city of Tangiers. Of course, it doesn't make the headlines because the headlines that day in the world was Paris falling to the Germans. He timed it well and was noting the German movements towards Paris to try to sneakily grab up the little bit of territory. So you have this state of one province here of Gibraltar. Yeah, why isn't it part of this or this state? Because it's silly. It should be part of these states. But no, this is British controlled. But you can't have they can't just take one other province. So it's stupid. Comes down to it. Now there are reasons that they do the states, and the main reason I would say is, I just want to click over here where we see it, is to limit the number of factory or industrial type slots, or silos or whatever else that might be built there, as opposed to other mechanics. But my answer to that is just give most of the industrial slots to particular provinces, like Stuttgart here, where you have the city, and maybe a few in Ulm, but other states just go, hey, no, there's not enough. You just don't have slots unless you do things to unlock them by building more and more infrastructure in that particular province. So it just makes some of these more agrarian provinces just sort of empty of industrial things, but Munich becomes the key. So you could do all of this mechanic without doing the maximum number of building of factories is more based on energy and Hearts of Iron 3 than it is on slots. I sort of like the idea of slots, but they should be done at the provincial level. Like I say, hey, Gibraltar should have 0 industrial slots. Nothing, because it's just not enough to really make any level, including like fuel storage or whatever. Nothing here. But yeah, you can build anti-aircraft, you can build air bases, you can build radar, that kind of stuff you can build up. So just sort of like how you would handle Gibraltar or handle some, Malta. Now, I wouldn't let Malta have any. Oh, they have 1. Okay, well, maybe 1. It's bigger than Gibraltar. Gibraltar shouldn't have any. Which they've 0 unlocked. So, okay, maybe they should have 1, and just do everything at the provincial level. Yeah, and so you have these odd situations here that don't match some of the political realities, because Slovenia definitely exists during World War II as a puppet state. Well, no, yeah, sort of, it does. Not as much as Croatia, really. But parts of this territory get taken over by Italy. Parts of the territory get taken over by Germany, annexed. And so you need to be able to divide it up. Now, you're never really going to get all of the, provinces match exactly borders and whatnot. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for a reasonable situation. So if I wanted to say, have the situation in which I wanted to give a corridor to Germany, from Germany to the Mediterranean, like I like to do in Hearts of Iron 3, I don't want to have to give this whole Dalmatian coast to Germany. I just want to maybe give this province to Germany, and they can then have a port here. And so, yeah, I am very much on a anti-state bias. And so I would just simply make every province a state. and I'm not going to mod it all in. It's very moddable to do, because you can have every province one, or every state a one state province, and just do that. And that's how I would fix the situation at this point, because it sucks. It sucks badly. Okay. Okay, there's some more of our factories that we've got from getting over Czechoslovakia in here. Okay, now that we've equipped everything, scout planes, fighter planes. We want to do more heavy fighters and more tactical bombers. Okay. Tactical bombers. And do we have... Yes. We want to do a little more of that. I'm going to do more scouting planes. Do we have my airbase created down here yet? No. Not yet. Okay. I thought moderators would go after people who post stuff in non-English language. Not actually do that. Czech land counts as occupied territory now. Check what your occupation. Oh, Czech land. Oh, they're saying it's occupied. Oh man, they've changed this on me. That's why I'm not getting it. It should not be occupied territory, because it was annexed. Well, pseudo. Oh, I disagree with this. I disagree. Czechoslovakia. That's why it's... Yeah, no, I disagree with this. I would fully annex this. Oh. How do I put all this? Okay. First off, I want to say I've looked into this. I don't want to use the term studied it, because that may presume that I've read a bunch of primary source documents in Czech or something. No, but I've looked into some of the stuff that's going on with... We'll call it... You often hear me pause when I'm talking about things, you know. What do I call this? Well, it depends on when and what I'm talking about. Is it Israel? Is it Palestine? Is it, you know, is it, this is Transjordan, you know, the far side of Jordan, to transit Jordan, the Jordan River. You know, what, you know, do I call, you know, is it the Palestinian Mandate? Is it, you know, and it has a lot of political and cultural and social stuff weighted in it, both in my view and other people's view. But, you know, right now it's Palestine, because right now it's the British occupation of Greater Jordan, and this is sort of Transjordan, and this is just sort of Jordan, and this is sort of the Palestinian part that they're dividing, again, the state mechanic up. You know, what do I call this? And so the occupation of Bohemia and Moravia, as we can see here. And those... Now, if I do, I don't know, Bohemian and, Moravian, or something, a different pronunciation in German, that would mean that I somehow, going with the German thing, but right now is occupied of these two territories. Okay, and so yeah, Bohemian Moravia, as opposed to Czechoslovakia, as opposed to Czechoslovakia, as opposed to Czech or Czechia or the Czechs or whatever. Czechs are the people. I'm like right now. Now, Nazi ideology and Nazi policy was not one thing. You know, you can't just go, it was X, even with regards to Czechoslovakia, because there are conflicting policies, conflicting ideologies within the overall Nazi hierarchy, okay? And Hitler wanted it this way. Hitler likes conflict. Hitler believes that out of conflict comes strength. And so he wants competing ideas, competing organizations, competing personalities within his world. So almost anything I say, you can find some original source, person, document, whatever, that will contradict what I have to say now about this, because there was not a single program, and I'm not going to fully use the very loaded term, but there was not one single solution, as you can figure out the other, or the first part of that, with another problem that the Germans, that the Nazis saw. Not that I see as a problem, but the solution to this. So there isn't one. But generally speaking, most Nazi theorists would consider the Czech people reasonable racial stock. And again, I'm looking at their views. Anybody who wants to come along later. Sounds like, you know, what's the meme here? The evil Nazis, what's the U.S. doing today? Conflicts, wars, bomb. I don't know where you're going with that. So like compliance levels. Okay, well, yes, Slovakia or Bohemian Moravia had super high compliance levels. They just do. But so there was a plan, and they often talk about things in third, wanting a certain third maybe to die off, another third or more to be culturally assimilated into the German Gemeinschaft, and maybe using some of the others as settlers in the east out of Bohemian Moravian, out of the Czechs. But the Czechs very much actively in an industrial sense cooperate and more with German occupation. The one area that I would not, and the way I would simply handle it as part of this fate of Czechoslovakia, national focus / the events triggered it, is just simply reduce the manpower. That, because they do. Okay, when the Germans took over, everybody gets categorized. Germans like categories. I'm sorry if I'm missing some of the chat here. Is that to some degree you can state who or what you are, how you, in the modern terms, how you identify. And so when the Germans roll in and start going through the stuff, if you want to say, hey, I'm German, hey, I'm Deutsch, you know, and they're going to, you know, look at you and go, because there were still at the you know, going, you know, they start as part of the Austrian and then later the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they probably, because definitely the Sudeten Germans in the mountains predate, you know, German occupation goes back to before Austrian control of the region. But definitely with Prague as a city, I don't know about, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, or like in Brno, some of the major cities, I'm not saying it isn't a thing, I just don't know of Germans living there before that. But definitely as part of the Austrian and then later Austro-Hungarian Empire, there is a significant amount of often middle class, often sort of, you know, a sort of middling level of bureaucrat and officials that are moving there that are Germans, shall we say. Yes, they speak Germans or whatever. So the Nazis has come into, and they often marry amongst themselves. Now it's, you know, it's not, it's just more of a cultural thing, I would say, than any sort of racial thing. So it's nothing like Nazi purity or that kind of bullshit. But so the Germans are quite, oh, you're a German. Oh, great, good. Yay. I mean it's like hooray, you know, as you're coming into the you know, the offices and getting your paperwork. Oh yeah, you're German. And you know, they'll then start speaking to you in German. And if you start speaking back to them in German, and Germany at this time still does, but even much more so than today, have all these different local sub-languages around Germany, both written and spoken, and Lum can, I'm sure, attest to that. Though he's not German, he's Swiss, but he speaks German, so he hears the differences in the types of languages. But I know back then it was even more pronounced. So yeah, you may have to the, you know, the sort of German occupation official sent from Berlin, but he may be sort of sent from Berlin, but he may have originate from like Munich or Nuremberg. So the accents may be funny, but they'll know if they're like actually speak German. And so, okay, you've declared yourself as German, you know, I'm trying to do the rubber stamp kind of thing, and you get your paperwork stamped that you're German. Yay, great. Okay, good. Now, that isn't going to do for something like SS classifications. If you're racially pure and all this stuff, you got to come up with a lot more documents. But your standard National Socialist official, yay, great, you're German. Okay, well, now you're German. There's a draft on. So if you're a male of the right age, you're going to go and be, you know, in the army. Or if you're a woman, women, you know, get forced into various labor things in Germany if you're not doing other things already. There's lots of stuff, and that can be its whole talk on itself. So now you have the responsibility of German citizenship. This, as a time goes, and bites people in the ass. Now, of course, it bites people in the ass later on as the Germans are losing and they wish they hadn't declared themselves. And these people that declare themselves Germany are not always maybe so German, meaning they're just Czechs that speak German and think it might be a better deal. Because there are a lot of Czechs, particularly in Prague. My understanding is that the sort of elite language in Prague was German, not Czech, at this time. And it wasn't really until the German pressure, and I mean at this time in the interwar period, till there was really the pressure by Germany, speaking German commonly in public goes out of fashion at that point, and only at that point. It was the fashionable language to speak was German. Sort of like I would say, again, the modern fashionable language to speak is English. Hence you're all here from different parts of the world speaking English. And other people who claim to speak English but don't. Like Ari, no, I'm teasing, but you know, his very, and those, I'm sort of teasing him, and he knows. I mean, it's definitely accented, but it's not, you know, it's not a lot of. I've heard a lot more accents in England that are harder to understand, but not speaking like the Queen's English or Midwestern English in America, or like newscaster English or whatever you want to call it. sort of varieties of English, and not just in pronunciation, but in word use and whatnot. And so, sort of the fashionable languages. So the fashionable language in Prague, I'm specifying Prague and not Bohemia or all of the Czechia, was German. And so when Germany rolls in, industry very much embraces working for the Germans. To my knowledge, very few of the technical specialists get out of Czechoslovakia. I'm not saying none do, but to my knowledge, very few of them do. And I hope you're interested in all of this, people watching now and watching later. Over here, in this, because this is one of Eastern Sudeten. Over here is where Tatra is located, the truck company. They make very, very good trucks and rather decent cars, especially at this time period, rather advanced. So they are, I still don't know a lot, and their corporate website, at least the English-speaking part of it, doesn't talk very much about Sudeten Germans at all. But seeing as the majority of the people living in here were Sudeten Germans, I figure the majority of people working at Tatra were Sudeten Germans. I do not know about the ownership of the company. The owners, were they Czechs? Were they not Czech nationals as in did they have Czech passports, but did they see them as themselves as Sudeten Germans, or did they see themselves as Czechs? I don't know. So that is taken over. And oh, looky here, see how good this situation is. It has 3 slots. It has 1 military slot, and it has a major truck factory here. Yeah, this game isn't so well balanced. But yeah, so Tatra Trucks is over here, and they actually, and I forget the models because I'm not good at numbers, developed some really good developments in automotive industry during the occupation period. So they, in like around 41, 42, a new sort of truck that the Germans use on limited use, and I think the main thing limiting Tatra trucks and their production is their availability of steel and rubber to a lesser degree, because it's allocated to to Opel for the Blitz truck and some of the other ones that are more common use. But it's a rather advanced automotive system that was probably better than most of the German automotive trucks. They're mostly 6x4 trucks, as opposed to where most of the Germans were 4x4 trucks. 4-wheel drive versus the 4 wheels and back, but not the front wheel drive. I don't know which is better for off-roading, but the Tatra trucks, some of them could be, they had a thing you put over the tires to turn it into a half-track kind of thing, not quite like the Muliter half-track trucks, but a more simple thing that goes back and forth, just so if it's getting really muddy or really snowy, it's more than a tire change, but sort of like that to turn it into a bit of a half track for that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's there. They do that. Bruno is the main arms arsenal. They produce massive amounts of small arms for Germany, a reasonable amount of artillery type arms for Germany. They actually develop the most advanced 105 millimeter howitzer for Germany during the war that just doesn't quite get into production because it's sort of completed in 45. Now, I don't know whether they stalled on the production or rushed on the development of the artillery pieces, but they were definitely developing stuff for the Germans actively. I have heard that the Skoda team that is working on the 38T tanks and their derivations supposedly made, and I've recently heard this, but without any accreditation, supposedly made design problems for the Hetzer tank, or whatever you want to call it, Hetzer tank destroyer, that the Germans never noticed and was sort of sabotage the situation. And I'm going, what? they're making this assertion, and I don't know of a I know what the Hetzer is very well, but I don't know it mechanically. I don't know what they're talking about. What design problems that made it a coffin for German soldiers or something. I mean, there's limitations with what they were working with, but so I really see the Czechs as going wholeheartedly into industrial collaboration with Germany, and anything else I think is entirely wrong. So I would just handle the manpower shift here. I would just massively drop the recruitable population down. Very much so. And what's everybody? Don't forget to start the war in time, or else you get an event that the Soviets invade Poland again. Okay, thank you for that, Arno. Yeah, I'm trying to explain what is sort of going on in this time period, culturally and socially. So yeah, and the Slovaks wholeheartedly support the situation, I would say. Yeah, I don't know. Game developers get in love with their mechanics. Okay, yeah, I know we haven't played much of this. They're still at sea. I've been talking a lot. Sorry, guys. Hope it's interesting.
Angetreten. Ihre Befehle.
What the hell? Who are these guys? What are they doing in my general lineup? To me, that looks like a Hungarian uniform. It's definitely not a German uniform. That's definitely not a German uniform. I don't know the officer's hat there. Nothing a German ever used. Are these, like, Czechs that somehow got dumped into my lineup and are using... This could be Czech uniforms. I don't know them well enough. But somehow we got... Somehow they give us Czech generals now? Oh, God. Okay, and yeah, Arno, I don't know, because maybe you know something I don't. You're talking about invading Poland all the time. Well, we have not done, and this is sort of what I'm looking at here. We have the West Wall. We have not done the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, so I don't think we're going to have an invasion of Poland until we do that. Now, if we do, that's going to be game broken. Declaration by me. But I do. I think we're looking at a 1940 sometime invasion of Poland in a very realistic sense. Okay, we're gonna give you again. I hate this goddamn color. I like the idea that, I mean, we can do different symbols, which are cool. I don't know, we'll just give them both here, of course. And whatnot. Okay. Infantry officer, old guard. Okay. Hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate that. So now we have, and we're going to change this color. Well, it's sort of panzer pink. Not really. Okay, that's going to be Guderian's group. Select all. Let's put them on trains and come down here. Yeah, we'll give it to Rommel. Do we have a desert tan or something? Yeah, not really. There we go. Desert tan for Rommel. Not sure we're even sending him to the desert, but definitely not at the moment. There we go. Get them under that. We have our sort of west wall army, but we don't have air defense zones in the east. You guys just head up here for now. Austrian army, because we are going to go to war at some point here. Though do remember this series is primarily looking at intel. Okay, we're going to create another group. Let's do 30 planes. I don't know the size, what specifically they should be. And you're going to deploy over northern France for that. And let's come over here and do another squadron. 20. You're going to deploy over eastern Poland and do spy missions there. And what's this? Yes, you can. Then break it. Wait, already you might. What are we sharing food? Okay, I don't know. You guys are ranting on about things. Cool. I just can't follow it all and try to play, and it's cool that you guys do. Trust me, I do think so. Okay, we want to. Okay, I've never had a success in doing it. And, we're gonna convert you over to Alpenjäger divisions. The Austrian just starts out slightly better than the German. Oh, and we should probably change. Oh yeah, let's do that. Now that we have Austria, let's deploy this, cancel that. Okay, that's already Alpenjäger. Oh, with this, and I think it's going to be this guy. He probably is. No, he. No, he already is. Okay, so these are our. Oh, yeah. Okay, now. Do we have Dietl yet? He's alright. Where's Dietl? No Dietl. No Dietl. Okay. I'll give it to Heil. Do we have a more white? There we go. white for mountain winter type troops. Bit of a gray, but that's cool. Okay, did we convert him over? Yeah. What's the significant gamers 45? The year 1745, yes. There was a Jacobite, Scottish Jacobite Highland uprising in 1745. Yep, that's already there, and you'll join that crew. Yes, how are my operations? Okay, we still have not completed the, it's in progress. And what happened to my blueprints? You mean we gotta go back to restarting the whole preparing thing? Oh god. This is taking way too long. Oh yeah, I was also born back then. Yeah. See, I thought about originally just doing gamer 45, but people might either think that, hey, he's just 45 years old, or hey, it's the 1940 or the 45 caliber pistol. Now I wanted to make sure you all knew that I was born in 1745. Yeah, that's it. You got that. I'm not liking that. I hope some good modders will change the Bohemian Moravia situation. I will definitely agree that it isn't entirely the same as other parts of Germany, but now one of the reasons, I'm sure there's multiple reasons for everything and it varies, but one of the reasons Czechoslovakia or Bohemian Moravia specifically should be much more integratable into Germany is because it was very much in living memory, not for the 18-year-old person that's drafted into some army or whatnot, but for everybody else. That was all part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They were used to having, if you will, German overlords. Now, their ethnicity definitely determined a lot of things in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That is very correct. But it wasn't the idea, and the Habsburgs definitely didn't have the idea that it should be the Germans oppressing other peoples or anything like that. But probably you needed to be of the right ethnicity to one degree or another to rise high in imperial status, shall we say, because it's not necessarily within the government, but within things. So we're looking at with that, and you know, Hitler's an Austrian. He hates Austria, though, but the Austrian Empire, particularly, I should say, not Austria the land or Austria the people, but Austrian Empire. He hates that. He wants a unified German thing, and not multinational empire. But so yeah, it's not like foreigners taking over a foreign land. It was already integrated in them once. It was developed as an integrated part of it. It's just coming back to it. And similarly with this territory over here, this was, you know, and even down into here, was not this part. It is, again, the state mechanic. I think Krakow was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire, wasn't it? Or was it the German Empire? I'm pretty sure it was not part of Russia, but I could be wrong. I don't know. And again here, now this, yeah, why you have this now? It may be in right to here. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong on some of this, but this here was part of the German Empire. And a lot of the Polish farmers sort of kind of welcomed back the Germans. Not that they weren't nationalistic, but things hadn't been going well under Polish administration. And it wasn't like, oh God, the evil Germans are back. It was, oh hey, yeah, good administration. Now as they start to see and it starts happening very quickly, within months. Poles thrown off there, and Poles that have been there for generations, not just Poles that were, recently, because there was definitely a move by the Polish government to drive the German peoples out of Poland. It wasn't nearly as brutal or anything that the Germans did, but it was definitely a program to do so, policies to do so. So it wasn't just in situations in where you had somebody, even if they sold up, because a lot of it I think was selling up their farm and then moving to Germany, a German farmer living in what is now Polish territory selling up, and then a Pole buying it. It wasn't even a case of them being kicked off to then put the original owners back on, back into the territory. It was kicking out farms that had been, in one fashion or another, generationally run by, sometimes maybe part of great German estates, but Poles had been living there and farming there for a long time, and that does start very quickly to piss the Poles off from the from German occupation. So it isn't just, oh, good management, good civil management that we're getting back. That, generally speaking, I think was better than the Polish management style, but it was an anti-Polish policies that were happening that really started pissing people off. If you were able to take over England, would that free your spy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that would be right back. Yeah. Go kick someone's ass. Okay. Are we traveling to India or something now? I'm not following all this. New ones, but they're all the same. I'm just ranting the same. And so, I'm a little more interested. Okay, we have, new artillery. That's right. Okay. So what we want to do, come up here is, because we have enough artillery, so switching over to better artillery will disrupt our production a bit. Well, we will fix that a little bit by, I don't know if fixing is the right term. But I want to see how my spy operation goes. Come on, in progress. Well, we're going to have to wait till next episode. Those of you live, we'll keep going, but we're going to have to wait till next episode to see if we can rescue our agent. I know I've been talking too much. And let's continue. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron, La Résistance, and we are looking at the spying aspect heavily in this playthrough, and we are trying to rescue our captured spy in Britain. And then I'm hoping to steal more blueprints. Beer, but at least I got some more, right? Now, here's operation. Do I have to completely re-prepare this thing now? Steal blueprints, prepare. Oh, damn. Well, stealing blueprints is not overpowered in this. Well, that is for sure. Let's do that. Okay, Excavations. Now, it's still a little, not massively. Okay, well, we'll do some air research. So used to playing Black Ice or some other mod than this. Okay, yeah, we moved a bunch of you over here just to get you over here quick. Okay, you're part of that other general's command, so you're gonna come down here. You guys are gonna come to here. Oh, close enough. We probably should be producing more units. I think we have the German border held. And I think we probably have enough to invade Poland effectively, though. You max out. You can make someone your puppet. Takes forever to do that. Okay, Airy, very good. Yeah. Like I said in a few episodes ago, but earlier today, I really love the new mechanic, but I'm not saying that it doesn't need, in my opinion, massive tweaking. I like the idea that spies can be arrested. Looking at the war in total, we definitely saw some rescue attempts. I think a few successful rescues of spies. I'm thinking mostly Britain rescuing Britain primarily rescuing some of their spies. The Panay incident. Stupid Japanese move. Where I think one of the attempts was actually done by an Mosquito aircraft bombing. I think it was a Dutch prison, and not only did the spy that was held there get out, I think a bunch of other, resistance types that were in the prison got out. United Kingdom dominates. Uh-oh, I thought we were ahead on that. Uh-oh, we got a hit on this. Okay, we will dismantle the fort. Speed, civilian factory use, removed. Fort level 1. Okay, but what? Why would I want to do this? Land fort and coastal fort construction for 180 days, but it uses 3 civilian factories for 180 days. Now, no, I don't do math well. So I don't know the 3 civilian factories cost for 180 days versus 20%. I don't know if that's any good. Okay. Not saying it isn't. Paramilitary training. Countries taking our production deserve only the best. Okay. Okay, we'll do that. The real question, why aren't you upgrading your agencies with your civs? I have been. How is eating dogs any different from eating any other animal? Dogs are our friends. I don't eat my friends. Maxed out by 37. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. you know, though I've saved it as a meme of a billboard, you know, and they do sort of have some pets, and then on the other sort of spectrum they have animal, you know, farm animals, chickens, pigs. You know, well, if you eat these, why don't you eat these other things? And then somebody goes in, you know, normal, disaster, starvation. You know, when do, you know, people start eating different? Or when this one person would start eating these different animals? Yeah, some wacky extreme. Hey, you're locked in Stalingrad or no, Leningrad, and it's starving, and you know there's a dog, you can go kill it. Yeah, whether you would do that or not. Yeah, we all know most people would, even if they don't want to admit it. And no, I'm not for eating dogs. It's purely under certain circumstances things get extreme enough. So yeah, that does happen. Von Rundstedt and Von Rundstedt and Von Rundstedt. He's taking over the Eastern commands at the moment. Yeah. What? Why aren't you getting under his command? Oh, click down here probably, I guess. And up here, which we have not. Bostwitz. There we go. I've not given his unit, and yes, I'm a micromanager. If you haven't realized, I prefer to do all this manually. Those that are sort of new around here. It goes back to my old tabletop playing days, and having to do that, not just maybe wanting to do it. MP38s, okay. Well, out of here. How many new subs do you have? And you know, Arno, I don't really know right offhand, and we can take a look, but in this playthrough, it's quite honestly a low priority for me. Because I'm looking at other things. Not that we won't get to the war, we will. And not that we won't do sub-operations, we will. That's no doubt. Just... I want to wait until it's at least 1940 to start doing that one. Okay, reconnaissance. Now, well, mentioning again what we're focusing on, let's upgrade some of our capabilities here. Okay, I guess we can only upgrade one at a time. And what more do we need? Okay, yeah, more motorization is a good idea. And we can upgrade that. Oh, yeah, we don't need to go too far there. AZADs on some of that stuff, but yeah. If maybe I'm missing something in some of the... Well, you see, we have an emotional attachment to our horses, Lum, so we think it's bad to eat horses. It's not a dietary bad thing, it's an emotional thing, because we have a romanticized attachment to horses. I partially grew up on a ranch. I'm very happy to eat cows after my experience of dealing with cattle. And very happy to eat them, but don't want to eat horse. So yeah, we have, because they're our partners, and even more so traditionally than dogs, because we rode horses. Horses help maintain our living, and we get some level of emotional attachment to them. At least I know it was hard losing one horse that we had to put down, that I knew most of my life. So yeah, now it was very old and needed to be put down. But yeah, it's not a thing. Horses are considered prized animals. Well, yeah, those are like good racehorses too. So yeah, no, horses are not. Yeah, well, we don't. It's not necessarily in America, you know. And again, I've sort of teased Derry. America has a lot of different traditions, and if you really start to get to people that are somewhat multi-generational out here in this part, you definitely horses are very much part of our culture, and it's not just because of watching John Wayne movies or something. Again, I was very much around ranching and horses around this part. Um, in this part of America, it's not so much. Horses, I don't think were quite as a commonly owned thing. Um, so I'm looking at some of the movies and things about here. Not that, I mean, lots of people owned horses, but I don't know if even most farmers necessarily, because they had mules and other things, and a lot of them are fairly poor. Um, yeah, a lot of horses still, lots of horses, but out here, because of your survival needs to live, needed horses more so to get around. And yeah, it's partially romanticized. I will totally admit that, but I did grow up around them, and those of us think of them as Donkey Sprout. How you doing? Hello. Show how you set up garrison. You still have no idea. I still have no lower resistance in territories. Okay, well, there are some new mechanics, but generally speaking, and you can definitely the kind of general here, and really until a defense area type of situation that you want to do, and then they will move around to keep resistance lower. What you need to do for dealing with resistance is have units that have military police in them. That's one of the key elements. And then have those units in occupied territories, and that will help keep your resistance down. I right now can't easily go in and show you a lot, but that is a key way. The auto garrison, yeah, most if you set up an area, but you want to use garrisons that or divisions for garrisons that have military police in them, and that are able to keep the area resistance down. Yes, they do have some new videos that are good, and I've actually used some of those to learn some of the new mechanics myself. And most of them are fairly short. They don't talk on about other things like I do, so they get to the point a lot quicker. How is our current logistics for tanks? Okay, light tanks, trucks. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add and add. Let's add and add. That didn't take, that took. And add and add. There we go. And then let's grab it and train an Alpenjäger division. And we're going to put that down here because this is where we're starting the mountain divisions. And Toyjet's going to be playing War Thunder along with us. Well, not with us right now, but yeah. Hopefully tomorrow. Oh, raw chicken. Oh, I would not eat raw chicken. I just would not. Hey, thanks for following. I would not eat. Oh, and James is saying in West Coast, yeah, lots of horses. Yes, James. Sorry, I'm not always watching the YouTube chat as much as I should, but you're not entirely forgotten. So yeah, it just, again, when armies are starving, traditionally they eat their horses because partially they can't necessarily feed their horses, but they also have manpower needs, food. So at least we didn't get that damn turquoise color this time. And yeah, here. There we go. So, harsh leader, cautious. So, yeah. But, yeah. It's just chicken particularly, and birds generally, at least the ones that I'm experienced, really should be cooked, if at all possible. Other meat, yeah, eating raw isn't quite the problem, but there are reasons to cook things, which one of them is to make them more digestible, generally speaking. Okay, so machine-assisted encryption, machine-assisted decryption, which we're going to do to help our attempts at cryptography here. Decrypting, hopefully that will help that. Operations, we're in progress. We, oh, this whole, what, well, I don't know. What are you still on? I don't know. Oh, he's back in Germany defending against subversive attacks. Well, man, this, like I say, I love the new mechanics, but this is, thank you, Horn. Thinking about how I want to put this. Sometimes I go silent, and I know I shouldn't too much, but do prepare collaboration in government missions. Yeah. Tech stealing definitely went on in World War II and the time around it. Probably not as much as in spy movies and other things as we like to think of it, but definitely did happen. And having it in the game is a good idea. But so far, we've needed a minimum of basically 3 agents to do a tech stealing operation in Britain. Twice now we've had agents captured or killed, which has delayed things. We've gotten 1 tech bonus out of all this. It doesn't seem to be worth it. I'm just, not that we should have a cascade of so many techs raining down on us, it's just incredible, but And I can't replace this. I can't just write off a guy. So he's captured. Yeah, fine. He didn't kill himself. He's still taking up a goddamn slot. So I've got to rescue him or some crap. That seems ridiculous to me. I don't know, people. What do you think? Steal smaller. Yeah, but what tech is a smaller country gonna have? Okay. Okay. Prepare a collaborationist government. Okay, well, I need two agents. I only have... Well, I guess we can... Well... Yes, we're gonna start preparing a collaborationist government in... No, I don't want that. No. Cancel this crap. No, cancel. How do you... I wanted it in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, people. Netherlands. Oh, I guess, what do we have to? Spy agency, Netherlands. What am I missing here? Build network. Here. Oh. You need to... No, we don't need to upgrade. We just need to forget about doing British networks. The Marines and infantry... Ah, cool. We have to have a network to do operations. Yes, I'm... Why can't I have a network in 10 different countries? Paradox. What? Ah! Hello. Well, why don't I have 50 spies? Why don't I have 50 goddamn spies? And yes, I think if I get a few more of these agencies or whatever, I will get more slots. I'm trying not to be too ranty. I don't want this to become Gamers Rant channel. I'm trying to calm myself now. What the hell are you thinking? If I have to develop all of this everywhere, every time, all the time, how, you know... I don't want to come off looking like a fool, so I'm trying to think before I speak. Okay, operations. Yeah, there's different types of operations, and I'm trying to think from various experience. Do you need a network, and what is a network? You need to have, shall we say, familiarity with what's going on. If you were to say, put me in Poland tomorrow, you know, if I were to, you know, depending on the, well, even this time, get off an airplane, whether it's a modern jet or a, you know, an older airplane in the 1930s, get off the plane in Poland, and let's just presume I speak Polish. But that's it. I just happen to speak Polish for some reason. Went to school, but I know nobody. Don't even, you know, I have a map to walk around Warsaw. I wouldn't be you know, a terribly good spy. You know, for whatever it may be, whether it's to rescue an agent, well, where is he being held? How are we going to do this? Or steal some government secrets, or whatever it might be, prepare a collaborationist government. So you need a network, absolutely. But wouldn't preparing a collaborationist government be setting up the network? Now, so I'm also trying to look in the game. If we had unlimited amount of spies, why don't we just do maximum spies everywhere? You know. So you need to have some limitations on this. I get you. The whole point is to make contact with the rebels in the nation, or people who, yes, and that's the point. That's the point, Ari. And so this guy here, what's he doing? What is he doing? He's creating a network. But you know, my network to set up a collaborationist government will be different than my network to steal naval secrets, or whatever it might be, orchestrating a coup or something. I don't know. And within a country like the Netherlands, there were people that were almost literally waving banners saying, "We want to help you spy in our country." Yeah, they were, you know, Dutch fascist types. You know, so it's sort of like, you want to spy, contact us at this address. You know, here's our flyers, we're passing them out. So yeah, you know, that's the whole. Ah! Ah! Hello. Why the fuck? Is this here? Why the fuck is this here? Yes, I'm starting to get pissed now. This is becoming a rant episode. Why the fuck is there an Anschluss button here? Why the fuck is there a Demand Sudetenland button here? Podcat. I don't know if anybody wants to. And I have ways of contacting him directly, but why the hell are they here? Now, I know why they were here originally, and your explanation, it was in public to me, made sense, because I asked, is because, hey, if you want to have the fate of Czechoslovakia, we've set the system up so the player knows what you need to have a roadmap to need to get to here. To, you know, have the fate of Czechoslovakia. You need to do these things first. Sounds great, as opposed to, you know, like, oh, I'm not going to do Anschluss, not realizing that it will keep you from getting the Czechoslovakian stuff going. So you know you have the path to go to get there. Makes perfect sense to me. Okay, where is union with the Netherlands? Why don't we have the union with the Netherlands? Or union with Denmark? Or union with Norway? Or a union with Tibet? Why aren't they in the game? Well, why not? Well, you can just use this new spy feature. Why don't we have spies networks happening here? Why don't we have them happening here? What the hell are you thinking of? Because that is what all this was. This is a big super spy game by your new goddamn spy stuff. That's all this is. You have a tailor-made situation to have your new spy mechanics, but you don't use any of it. Why? Why aren't you preparing a collaborationist government here in Austria? Why? Now, I have events designed, starting with the old version of Third Reich events for Hearts of Iron 3, updated to, now it's can't play it with any of the modern versions of Hearts of Iron 4, Third Reich events that are designed to integrate with this. So you go, oh, I want to do, well, let's say I want to demand the Sudetenland. Okay, well, first you need to go the idea of, oh, well, we're going to start an operation to provoke the Germans here, because all the spy mechanic didn't happen here. And so why not start 1936, have spy operations going here and here in Austria, because they were going massively going. So you have real life, real world spy shit going on in this terms, and propaganda operations going on in these regions. It's a massive effort. The public face of the one down here is Franz von Papen. We're all familiar with him because he was the vice chancellor and former chancellor of Germany, vice chancellor under Hitler. We all know who he is if you paid any attention to this stuff. We all know who Franz von Papen is. He is a Catholic German, a very strong Catholic German. And he is put in charge of this because of that, of he's being Catholic and he wants to do it. And so he goes in and tirelessly works to get Nazism acceptable in Austria. At the time, in 1936, National Socialism is outlawed because in 1933, an SA man assassinates the fascist prime minister of Austria. So the Nazi Party and the SA are banned. Those still exist, but banned. It still exists big time, but are an illegal organization, banned in Austria. He goes in his first steps. It only happens after 1936. I forget the dates right offhand. To get them unbanned. And so this is a full court pressure. So you have this wonderful new mechanic here. I'm not even looking at you, chat, right now. I'll check it in a while. You have this new mechanic. Why the hell did you not use it for here? You could easily have, you know, and we start out with Skorzeny. Otto Skorzeny is a starting spy in this game. What's wrong with that? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what's wrong with having Otto Skorzeny? Hi, Eat Boy. Sorry if I'm... He was killer. Yeah, no, but why can't we have... Why should we not have Otto Skorzeny at the start of the game? Can anybody tell me that here? This is a test to see if anybody knows who Otto Skorzeny really is. Not just have you heard of him, but do you know who Otto Skorzeny? Arno says no clue. Okay. I own books that he wrote the foreword to. I mean, they're not like signed by him. Just nope, not just started. I don't know what his rank was in 1936. Or 1937. He wasn't a German. Otto Skorzeny was not a German. He was an Austrian. I believe, I'm not absolutely sure, because I didn't look into that quite that detail, but I believe he was a member of the Austrian army. Yes, Spiraling gets it. He was an Austrian. That's part of the reason he hates and has great contempt for the Italians. Now, he rescues Mussolini, but and one of the reasons he gets sent on that rescue is a meeting with Hitler, and when all the other sort of commando type leaders, oh yeah, no, our good Italian allies, blah 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 blah. No, he says they're trash or words to that kind of effect. And Hitler, who shares that opinion of Italians, even though Hitler's an Austrian, he hates the Habsburgs. He hates the Habsburg Empire, the Austrian Empire, but he doesn't hate Austria, you know, the place. And so it was labeled as the most, yes, he was later on, you know, 40, 45, especially after the Mussolini. Oh, no, never heard of him. Oh, he's a very famous SS commando, and I have books that he wrote the foreword to on my shelf over here. You know, again, not signed by him or anything personally, but were books written while he was still alive about the SS and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely know who Otto Skorzeny is, and known for many, many years, since, like I say, he was still alive. And no, I don't know his biography like in super detail, but in general, and I can look up things. I mean, not just on freaking Wikipedia, but really look up things about him in some of my books. But I just don't remember it all. Not claiming to have that kind of memory. So no, he shouldn't freaking be there because he's an Austrian, and I'm presuming a member of the Austrian army at the time. I don't know when there are SS members. Not Waffen-SS, didn't exist yet, but SS, there's a whole Austrian SS branch. He might have been associated with that before unification, before Anschluss. Might have. But I don't know in detail, but he should not be there at start, in my opinion. So you have this whole mechanic, this whole stuff, and you have two massive, and they're different in each case, operations for taking over a country, and you freaking leave it up to push button, get reward. When you have their whole spy story thing. Now you can have things that go, oh, it's 1936. You know, Mein Führer or whatever. We feel you should do this spy operation. Here's your spies. Or the Führer wants you to, you know, however you want to role play it in the thing. Send a spy to start forming a network. Or maybe start in 1936. with a network fully developed in Austria, with a person sitting there in charge of it as a starting element. Can't you freaking do that, people? And also, which you should have in 1936 also, because it's already started, a Sudeten Deutsch. See, my events, and I coded the events for Austria when I started working with Hearts of Iron 4. I coded and I recoded the events for Czechoslovakia. And I would recode things differently now with this stuff. But they start in 36 for both countries. If you want to get these events to happen more, or, the national focus. So I integrated the national focus so that, players could sort of know the roadmap. And so sometimes you hit a national focus that starts the events that you may not, you want to demand the Sudeten land? Well, you got to start that, a year before and get there. It triggers events that happen. Now with this stuff, you could easily say, oh, well, you need to develop a network. I don't know if there's a check for it in events. I just haven't been paying attention to the coding. To go, oh, you need to have, a level, 60% or whatever it is. Let's see, we can click up here. 0% here. Network, I guess. Infiltrate civil administration cipher, whatever. I guess we've stopped that, but we had a network up here. The percent of network down there, and start with some of the stuff. Or you have to have this in this area to then fire these other events to then get this stuff. So you develop this thing, and okay, like I say, you need to have limitations. You need to, and as one of the design elements of Hearts of Iron 4 is you need to make choices. You can't have it all. And you can't have it all right away. And maybe some of this stuff I pushed, like extra research slot, but they should have the KDF wagon by now, and maybe synthetic rubber by now, but I'm behind on Danziger War, behind because I haven't gotten the Anti-Comintern Pact, I haven't gotten Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. So in my opinion now, like expanding, now I did these, and these are pretty quick, but this is a bit longer. Now I haven't expanded dockyard facilities yet, or done the Z-Plan, or whatever effort. I don't think, because I don't know when the Ostwall was built, but it definitely existed. I don't know, like, when they expect us to align Romania and Hungary. Hungary should be sort of now. Romania should be 1940 or more, kind of thing, a little bit later. And so some of these things, should not maybe happen so soon. But air innovations, hell, that should have happened. But I haven't had time. I literally haven't had time to befriend Japan, befriend China. 70 freaking days. How am I supposed to do that? What I mean, this is the new function here. I don't know if many people realize this. This is going to make Black Ice so much easier. With the Auslösch focus, all Austria is forced to accept if historically accurate, but not with spies, even if historically accurate, as they might just do something bonkers. Well, no, what I'm saying is, is say to have. Oh, well, let's zoom back in. This will make that so much better. To be able to have this, what I'm saying is to be able to have this button come to green, or whatever you want to call this color, to be able to be selected. I'm not saying get rid of the national focus. What I'm saying is to say, oh, you have to have a network established of 30% or whatever. I don't know. What are they calling it here? Let's go back to here. In SPY, prepare steel blueprint. Okay. You see, more than support for Counter-Strike. Have a network strength of 70% is what this coordinated strike. Okay. say to be able to select the unslush button, you have to have a network of 60% or something. You know, I don't know what it should be. I mean, it should be fairly well established. Have that. Just have the network established. Not necessarily prepare a collaborationist government, but maybe prepare. So I'm just saying, okay, well, yeah, 50%. Have a network in existence to then fire Anschluss or demand Sudetenland or fate of Czechoslovakia. Prepared some of that. Wrong mini rant above. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Because it's overly complex and forces massive change to the focus. Well, maybe not massive. It focuses good or bad players to waste spies on these small nations instead of sending somewhat important. Also, annexation process somewhat diplomatic. I mean, Sudetenland was practically given to the Germans because of Chamberlain's policies. The game shouldn't have a force players a certain way if players don't. Okay, you sort of have a point, but you're also missing my point. Press button, get result. Press button, get result. Press button, get result. Hell, demanding the Sudetenland almost ended up in a freaking war. My version of it is when you demand the Sudetenland, you've had some events that happened before, but you demand the Sudetenland. You click this button. I don't remember if I shortened the days or not. I don't remember right now. But once it does, it goes boom. Then it fires an event. And that event has this chain of events. And there's, at one time, is press demand for the Sudetenland in the event. And they go, no, they refuse. Or you demand the Sudetenland. They refuse. Back down or press the demand. And then you have a chance at press the demand that it starts a war. You don't know. It may, now you can save it before and go back if you don't want the war, you know, if you happen to get it. It's a small percent chance of getting the war with Austria, Britain, and France versus Germany. So there is a chance over the Sudetenland that a war will break out. There is no press button, get result. It's press button, start an event. The event might lead to war, might get your results. You might back down. You don't know. So there's some of that going on. Okay. That was my interpretation for the Sudetenland. There's a lot of stuff leading up to developments of it. So and I'm going to disagree over minor countries here, Ari. World War II is fought over Poland and Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia in that Hitler, all I want is this, basically. Yeah, well, technically this, as he says, and gets an agreement with that. And then takes the rest. That pisses everybody off. Then all I want is basically this, he says. Not just the city, but the Danzig corridor. Starts the war. And so that starts the war. So it's the spy operations here that are the most important, that are here, here, and here. That is where they are the most important. That is what the focus. This is what the National Socialist state is focused on. So I disagree with your mini rant, I guess, or maybe almost entirely. And so, but it should be set up with enough spies starting out. I mean, the idea that a major nation like Germany, like Italy, like France, like United Kingdom doesn't start with two or three spy slots just as de facto. Again, this is my other problem with Paradox games is they started everything at zero and over time you got to build it up. What? Now, Crusader Kings or EU, you're sort of starting out with, Little England or, France, which is sort of Ile de Paris and this stuff, because you still have Bourbon, you have, Normandy that's English, you have Aquitaine that's English controlled, you have all these other things that it's not this big nation yet. And so, yeah, you're talking about pre-Renaissance kingdoms that are trying to move into more modern situations, and similarly things with, Crusader Kings kind of situation, as well as EU. Now with Vicky, which I've barely touched, Vicky, you're starting out with the British Empire, the French Empire. It's starting out with all of that in existence, and I'm guessing you still have to start with Tabula Rasa, a blank slate, and add to it. But I don't know. But you shouldn't have to. And so you should start with these operations. And if you want to do other operations, yes, you can expand your spy infrastructure and get more stuff going, or whatnot. But the idea that isn't an already going thing. And now you could stop it and do other things, but now I just disagree. If you're going to have this mechanic, and I have to build up a network to prepare a collaborationist government, because, okay, I'm going to prepare a collaborationist government in the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, Norway. Ever hear of Quisling, anybody? Quisling. United Kingdom and France, before I freaking start the goddamn war. How many years is that going to take me? See, this is part of the point. How many years is it going to take me to establish 6 collaborationist governments? How many years is it going to take me to form 6 collaborationist governments? That is the problem with this mechanic as currently based. Most players like building up Germany and other major nations to have people they can enlist to give them more spy slots there, more mods to expand and get more. Yeah, okay, and this may be handed. I think because if you start with a lot of stuff going on, you already, not a lot of players have a great idea. Yeah, I get you there, Lum, but why the hell isn't Rudolf Hess a starting figure here? Now, you may want to swap him out for somebody else, but why isn't at least some of these factories starting? Now, they may start with, like, I don't know, Messerschmitt's a good starting, but Heinkel might also be, or Junkers or something like that, could be the starting one, and Falk-Wolf definitely comes later. More around 1940 or something, 40, 41, as it really becomes the dominant thing. So you might want to, you should have some of this stuff should be starting. Now, all the spy stuff going on all at once, I can see your point there, Lum. New players. But the idea that none of these figure slots, none of these research companies, none of these generals are starting. Why isn't Bloomberg starting as chief of the army? Why the hell not? I mean, he's not even here now. Now, then you have the scandal that removes him from it, and then you got to replace him. Yeah, but why isn't there that starting? Whether he's a good figure or bad figure, and this is also a reason to have bad figures, is some of them there at starting, and you want to remove them for the better leader. So yeah, I get your point, Lum, but it's yeah, and I get you're not saying it shouldn't be the option, but I even think for starting, first-time players, the idea of having at least some of these slots filled is a it would not be any sort of overwhelming thing at all. Yeah, I get, Ari, making your own choices. And but the idea is, what was there in 1936? And then you change it. You make your own choices. Within historical plausibility, like that. Now, other people might want it within oh, I want a communist minister, or I want, an anti-Hitlerite minister to overthrow the Hitler government and establish the Kaisers. Okay, yeah, that's fine for some players, and that's good. And I'm not against the idea of that being in the game. I just want, first and foremost, historically plausible things. So, Martin Bormann only comes around because rises up to power because Rudolf Hess does his flight to Britain. And so, but if now these both have the same damn stats, so it doesn't matter, it's just purely immersion here. But if you maybe change the stats a little bit, you might want to switch over from Rudolf Hess to Martin Bormann. If not just because of their name and personalities or something, but have traits that make them slightly different. And so making your own choices, I totally get that, and I'm all for that. If you want to have industrial capacity, or you want to have does not have, why does painful. So I get the idea there, and I'm in agreement within the historically plausible realm, but that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be your own start, and that's what this is. This whole mechanic here, and I'll look at your chat in a minute, Ari and others. This whole mechanic here was the idea that you can't just min-max it, like just swap out one of these just as you start to research something, to make sure that your naval bombers have the best naval stat, and just constantly ping-ponging around between these things. That I get. I get more with here than I do here, but I totally, and especially changing out ministers is a disruption to government, and so I totally get that and support that idea. But that doesn't mean equally that there shouldn't be a starting ministership of something. What was that? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but what I'm basically suggesting is I don't think there's anything wrong with newer players. There's a reason Hoi 4 is a bigger audience more online than on 3D. That's because they made their game a lot simpler. Yeah, but this isn't a simplification, or a complication. Having a starting lineup. That's all on that point, is just a starting lineup. And now here I'm suggesting having, which could actually be, the idea of having none of these at start and the idea that you're not already having operations, say, at start. I don't know, because I don't know. Maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe they're perfectly right. I know they're correct on the idea that this type of stuff, because they track how you play these. If you don't realize that, people, Paradox does track that. Is that the a lot of people like playing down these alternate history paths, and this is really popular. So much more popular. Let's cause those. So yeah, Return of the Kaiser. I don't know, is there a communist path somewhere in here? But so a lot of that stuff, my ideas are less popular, but the idea of starting it I don't take as being bad. Also, you shouldn't be forced to use a system you don't want to. If people don't want to worry about spies, they shouldn't. Alright, Not sure. Okay. Oh, Brett. Oh, you're talking to Brett about stuff. Free powers. Oh, okay. Spiraling. Yes. Yes, Gamer had a bit of a meltdown in a... I guess I'm talking about myself in the third person. I had a bit of a meltdown here and... Oh... Now, of course, tying some of these, and all I'm really to a point saying is to tying these national focuses to some of the spy mechanics, especially creating the network element, should only come is if you have a lot of resistance in the stuff, I guess. I don't know. Okay, well, I think we're going to end this episode here. Not end the chat just yet, but just we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank those of you watching later for watching, for liking the videos. You can have your comments. You know, I do value what you say. It doesn't necessarily going to change my opinion, but I do want to know what viewers think of all of this, viewers, players of the game, whatnot. So thanks, everyone. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron. Just a second, let me check this here. Okay. Huh? Oh, okay. Okay, people. Let me save this. I don't know if you want another episode now or not. I don't know what the general feeling in chat is. Someday I want to start doing some Railway Empire with IKB. I don't know if now is at all a good time for either him or people. War Thunder? Well, War Thunder is going to happen tomorrow, Brett. So I don't want to jump into it now. I might play with you after the stream, but that's not for the stream. We have 2 whole rant episodes. Yeah, I know. I'm doing more rants. People like the rants, but I don't want to just become gamers ranting about things. And yeah, I like this mechanic. I started out in 1936. In 1936, 3 years before, trying to steal text information from Britain. And I've only successfully gotten one blueprint. And I'm not saying like I should have a cascade of information at this point, but it just seems like... Oh, sorry to hear that, Brett. I'm not saying I won't play with you in a while, but, you know, an hour or two or whatever, or when I'm done with this, but not for the stream. Because I will be playing some Hearts of Iron. I think you should take a break. Yeah, probably you're right on this, because this is just aggravating me. So I like this, but it just... Man, I see such possibilities. Because I could do the whole, you know, and I don't know, again, about modding in two sets of agencies. Can you do that for one country? Man, that would be interesting. Because you have the whole Ausland organization of the NSDAP. And then you have the SS Ausland organization as well. Hope I'm pronouncing these vaguely right, Lum. Oh, you don't. I mean, just slowly go through the tutorial on that thing is really slow. Command blocker operations. I've gone through some of the tutorial on that. I know that's really slow. Gestapo. Well, yeah. Well, Gestapo is an internal organization. Spiraling. It's not an external organization. They don't have. Now it does go outside of Germany once you get into occupation, but not until you get into occupation. You have the Ausland SD. I think it would be the most correct within the SS. But you have the NSDAP Ausland organization, which was an organization set up to deal with German nationals outside of Germany. They kept that focus very much there on that. Then they had other operations to deal with ethnic Germans in other countries that definitely were not part of the Abwehr. One of the well-known stuff going is Germany's dealing with the German-American Bund in the USA. And so you could have at least two, if not, because I don't know how much complication you want to add into it, but 3 or 4 spy agencies, all for Germany, and they don't work together. So meaning if an SS agent is going to do something in a country, they need to be an SS organization, even if there's also an Abwehr organization. I could do a marvelous spy game mod event organization stuff based on this. And it would need a hell of a lot more operatives in this kind of thing. Now you need to have either a corresponding organizations in other countries, or just simply effects that replicate it but aren't there in detail. Meaning you only really play it from the Neubauernfahrzeug. Is that good for you there, Arno? Yes, very good. Soup facts. I think generally you're understandable there, Brett. English is trash. I don't know what some of you guys are talking about. Yeah. Did we save? I think. Let me make sure. Yes, we did. October 22nd. Yes. Okay. Back. Yeah, guys. I think that'll be it for the live stream today. I really do appreciate you putting up with me here. Hope it was entertaining, but I'm going to run this for just 6 more days. I want to see if we get our spy out. I know I haven't recorded it, and it won't be. 6 more days. Fast. Go fast. 5 days. 4 days. 3 days. 1 day. Finished. Okay, we got him out. The team had no trouble getting into the country and definitely avoiding it. Blah 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 blah. Okay, we got him out. Now this is the second spy we got out of British captivity. Now I don't know if it would be massively changed if we had a war. build Intel network here, yeah. So we are 57, build Intel network. And they're starting out with 0 because it's been so long. Oh. Build Intel network here. We're at 2%. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Brad, if you want to play War Thunder in about 10 or 15 minutes, I'll probably be ready to play that. And anybody else, we can get on Discord and play some War Thunder if you want. We'll be doing that. So I do want to play some. Thanks, everyone. See, tomorrow we're doing War Thunder, likely. It's the plan, at least. So you can join us then as well.